All right. So there's a rule of thumb that we've heard for years, all of us. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. And I'm going to update it for 2026. If it looks too good to be true and it's on the internet, it most definitely is. Um, if you see rule number one, if you receive a link, never um, click on it. It's just no Zoom links, nothing. We have to be even careful when agents send us dot loop links because they have something in their file they want us to review. I never even click on those links. I actually go to dot loop and log in and go into the file, put the address in, put it in the file. The danger is that we are seeing so much fraud out there, and it's going to get worse. The prediction is that it's doubled in the last 5 years, and the prediction is that it's going to double again in the next 2 years. And that fact, um, that prediction is upheld with a seminar that I watched last week with Sun Title. And they were talking about all of the things that are going on. And if you'd like me to share a story, it's a scary one. And I'm going to assume that you do. So I'm going to tell it right now. Couple here in the West Michigan area, I believe it was Granville or Jenison, they were buying a condo. And 3 days after they got a fully executed purchase agreement, they got an email from the lender asking them to send their cash to close of $66,000 to the title company, Sun Title. They had Sun Title's logo, accurate address, the correct phone number, and a area that you could drop in the routing and transit number or that was already dropped in. And all you had to do was put in your bank account number or your fill in the information for your bank account to send the $66,000. Now, the problem here is that I don't know about you, but when you've got a transaction that involves a mortgage and you get a note 3 days later with your final numbers, shouldn't that raise a red flag? Anyone? I mean, we know that we don't get final numbers with mortgage transactions until the last, 24, 48, 36 hours prior to the closing of the transaction, right? But here they were getting their final numbers like 3 days afterwards. That should have raised a red flag. And it did with the buyer. And the buyer husband said, gosh, this seems odd. And so he sent an email to this address that was only 2 digits, 2 letters off from their actual mortgage lender's email address. It was if you scanned over quickly, you wouldn't have noticed it. It had his correct name, but the navigation went to there was an additional S and there was an additional I in the um, .com part of it. Okay. So he sends it to him and says, well, hey, I'm a little concerned because this address is different than this bank account at PNC Mortgage. Sun Title doesn't have a bank account at PNC Mortgage. They inserted that, the crooks. Okay. And he says, this is different than where I sent my EMD. And they said, oh, yeah, that's right. That's the way it works. The letter was structured just like their lender. It had no grammar mistakes, no spelling mistakes. The crooks have upped their game, is what I'm saying. So he said, well, okay, I guess, I'll check into this more. He asked his wife to call their lender. We'll call him Joe. Joe the lender, we'll call him. So the wife picks up the phone and calls the number for Joe that's in the email. Another big mistake. And so they call and all of a sudden on their phone, Joe's caller ID shows up. It says Joe the lender, and it has his phone number spoofed into their phone. Okay. And so she talks to Joe the lender. She says, hey, Joe, we got this email and they're asking us to send $66,000 to this account at PNC Mortgage for Sun Title. And Joe says, yep, that's absolutely correct. And you should do that as soon as possible. And so she goes, oh, okay. Now she recognizes Joe's voice. And guess what? The crooks cloned his voice. It sounded just like Joe, their lender. There was no reason to doubt it because it was Joe's voice and Joe's phone number and Joe's caller ID on their phone. So they sent $66,000. And then about 3 weeks later, when they showed up to the closing, and the title company person says, do you have your money, your proceeds for cash to close? And they looked at him like, well, we sent that three weeks ago by wire. This is happening out there right now. It's happening right now. And that one may make the national newswire shortly. You may see it on things like Network News or Dateline or whatever. So that's the kind of stuff that's going on, and we have to protect ourselves and our agents or our clients from that. Okay? What kind of questions do you have that you want to cover today? Anyone?
So what is the procedure to not go down, take the bait and go down that? I mean, how do you know who you're talking to? They called the number, thought they were talking to them. How do you know?
That's a really good question, Jim. And I don't know the complete answer. One of the things that this presenter gave to us last week is maybe using a protective phrase like they do with multi-factor authentication, where they say, what was your, dog's name, your first pet's name, or where did you go to school in elementary school, something like that. Or you may set it up with your client to say, if you call me with a question and you ask me to do something, um, we're going to have a catchphrase that is particular. We're not going to share it in email. We're not going to share it by text. There's nothing in writing. There's no electronic trail for this. And let's say it's, I'll just use the word Rumpelstiltskin. If you don't say Rumpelstiltskin, if I ask you what the word is and you say something other than that, then it's fraud. You know right now you're dealing with a scammer. Does that sound complex? Absolutely. Does it sound wise? Yeah. A couple of the things that they could have done differently is, and again, we're asking consumers to be at a level of sophistication beyond where most agents are. And that's just not going to happen. They're going to get scammed if we don't protect them. So um, it's Eric points this out in the Deal Doctor Roadshow, where we're talking about AI. And what's happening right now is there are two competing camps right now. There's the crooks and the people who are protecting us from the crooks. And they're both using AI to race more quickly, to go faster than the other one. And that kind of protection that AI is creating for the good guys, I'll call us for the moment, is no more sophisticated nowadays than the AI that the crooks are using. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
Hey,
so
John, may I add something
sure.
to this? Really, this is great. I want to add, what if, yes, you can create password between us and our clients, but what if our clients get scammed pretending coming from a loan officer, lender, or title company? What do we do in that case? How do we train or prepare our clients not to fall to be a victim? I think in that case, we want to advise, but guys, keep in mind we are almost like playing a role like a guardian angel, especially, no offense to you and me, Don, but to elderly people who mostly they are a higher level who get victimized by these scammers. So really what I would say is, under no circumstance, if they ask any personal information, bank account, or they ask him to transfer funds way earlier than closing, maybe day or so before, to at least not to do anything, but at least check with you first. So that's and now, like Don was saying, I mean, they are getting so much sophisticated. I got yesterday, my wife got a listing on lease listing, and it's there is a scam. 4 text email came from Zillow pretending is technical ZLW, it says. So your listing is not being exposed. Please click on this link. Stay on this line. Don't go anywhere. So it's a big scam going everywhere we turn. So just really we want to develop a immune system for us and our clients to prevent from anything to happen. So.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, Luigi. My age group in particular, I am a baby boomer, and absolutely positively, anyone over 60 has a much higher likelihood of being targeted for exactly the reason that they tend to be, as a group, um, less sophisticated electronically in terms of emails and internets and wiring funds and all those things. That's not to say that some people aren't uh, very astute about those, but the over 60 group is absolutely being targeted. There's absolutely no question about it. So we have to be protective of the clients and sometimes encourage them that they're going to need to call us and even come in and sit down and have a conversation if they get these kind of emails that are asking them to send money somewhere. One of our agents in my age group has said that he will not use wire instructions anymore, that everything is going to go back to being used doing cashier checks. Now, I'm not sure that that's the long-term solution, but it may be a good short-term practice in order to, prevent people from uh, stealing a wire funds transfer. Does that make sense? Thanks, John. Yeah, yeah.
And Don,
put down the thumbs up.
Let me add one more thing. Sorry. Really, this could be a very strong protection mechanism, in my opinion, because like Don was saying earlier, the scammers they become so good that they can create almost like Agent Luigi's calling that client, and it's not me with this AI and everything, but maybe strictly to create to have them call you, because if they call your personal number, that number will come to you. But if we create expectation agent to call them, that can be scammers. They can use that too, and it can look like we are calling them and it's not us. So I think to better protect them, have them call at our cell phone or our number we our clients have. That would be, I think, the best protection mechanism, in my opinion. Go ahead, Don. I just want to
No, I
add that.
absolutely agree. That when you sit down with clients or you meet with them in some fashion, it's important that you make it clear to them that they should always check with you on your private phone, on your number. It's on your business card. Don't use any other number to have that communication. The problem is stemming in large part because now these crooks are spoofing the numbers that will show up on the caller ID of the clients. So you have to be really careful. I want to move on because Eric created what he calls the big 8 frauds that are going on right now, and I want to cover as many of those as I can. Vacant land, seller impersonation. You get the call from the seller who wants to sell their vacant land. And the reason that it's important to recognize the first time when you first hear the words vacant land and I want to sell, your ears should start to jump up and go, wait a minute, I want to be really careful here. And the reason is they target vacant land because they generally are free and clear. The properties don't have any loan on them. They're absentee voters. They may be elderly voters. Again, elderly owners are going to be the ones that get targeted the most. I'm trying to scroll over to another page here, so bear with me. They may be in trusts or estates, and they ask for a fast listing. They want to push for a cash sale. They avoid in-person verification. And what you want to watch out for is if the seller is out of state, if there's vacant land and it has no mortgage, all of these should be flags, red flags for you. They refuse to have an in-person meeting. Or if they do, they're even deep faking their presence. They're actually, there's one case that we had in May where the crook actually deep faked the identity of the actual owner, and the crook wouldn't put his fingers in front of his face, okay, and do this because that will like break up the stream and cause glitches in the video, and he refused to do that. And one of the software programs that the remote online notary was using managed to catch what she could not catch and actually prevented the scam. So we're trying to put safeguards in place, but they're getting really, really good at it. The seller may want a below market sale. They may use a fake ID or a fake notary. We have one case where they actually cut and pasted the notary seal and put it on another document and then attempted to sign that document as the notary using a mouse. You know how hard it is to sign with using a mouse. It's nearly impossible. And it certainly doesn't look like the notary's, normal signature. And again, they're using deep fake or deep fake audio or video to create a completely new identity on the screen when they're having conversations with you. Any questions on that one? Okay. AI can intimidate or imitate, excuse me, a seller, buyer, title officer, lender. They may sound like a real client, just like what happened recently that I just described. And what you want to do is you want to be very careful watch for odd pauses or timing. If it sounds a little too smooth or slightly delayed, you have to be aware of those things and watch for deepfake video and deepfake audio. They avoid spontaneous questions, or it takes them a long time to formulate an answer when you ask them a question. They don't want to show their ID clearly. And most importantly, and this is the most frequent one, they have last minute changes to the wiring instructions. Everything's going along just fine. And then all of a sudden, at the last minute, they ask the client to send the money somewhere else. All of those things should raise a huge red flag. You should bring the broker support team in immediately, get the title company involved, get the lender involved, get on the phone with them, and find out whether or not it's legitimate. Any questions on that? How are we doing?
You're doing great, Don.
Could they have talked? Penny's question: could they have called the title company? Yes, they could have. Absolutely. Again, consumers are not terribly sophisticated. Even though these people had bought a number of homes in their life, they're not terribly sophisticated when it comes to working with real estate lenders and title companies. So I would say yes, they certainly could have done that, and that would have maybe deflected that and not caused a problem or prevented a problem. At one point, they called their lender and initially got their actual lender, and he said, we're talking about Jack the lender or whatever his name is. And he said, well, if the title company sent you those instructions, you can probably follow them. Well, the moment that lender right there had some complicity, because the lender should have been knowledgeable enough to know that final numbers would not have been in by now. Okay, 4 days into a transaction, a week into the transaction, when there's a mortgage involved, they're not going to have final numbers. That should have been a red flag to the lender. So everyone involved in the transaction, everyone in the chain of the transaction, from excuse me, the sellers, buyers, title company, and agents, need to be on a high level of awareness and raise their game in terms of listening to and seeing what's going on and questioning it. Right, Louise? You're muted.
Sorry, absolutely. And especially talking about the lender involved. I mean, without having fully clear to close by lender, no title company will ever issue or ask for money wiring or anything because they don't have final numbers. So just for that fact, we need to train again our clients to, anytime anyone asks for funds earlier than close to closing time, it's right there. It's a red flag for sure.
Another one we're seeing is more sophisticated phishing, what they call phishing emails. They used to be able to see these things and say, call into question, well, the grammar's not right, the sentence structure is wrong, there's misspellings, there's something off about it. And they're becoming much more sophisticated in that regard, in part because they're using things like Chat GPT to create these messages that are going out. One of the frauds that happened recently that agents encountered and are still encountering is the referral fraud, where you get a call from someone and they say, hey, I've got a referral for you, or I want to work with you, and I got your name from Luigi, for example. Luigi called me and said that you were a great agent and I want to work with you. And then you find out later, after it's too late, that Luigi never actually referred them. In fact, Luigi has never heard from them at all. So when you get a referral, even if it's from someone as trustworthy as Luigi, check it out. Call Luigi. Call someone who said is to referred you, was referred to you, and check it out with them. Make sure that in fact happened. The other red flag in this is that their story sounds a little too polished, but it's vague. It doesn't really dig into the details. It kind of stays on the surface, but it sounds really well orchestrated. There's an unknown relocation company or investor group involved. They want immediate action, but again, they're avoiding verification. And there's a pressure to sign the referral or compensation work quickly. Anytime you feel as if things are moving too fast, stop, because they probably are. Okay. There's AI altered listing photos, going on out there. There's fake authority documentations like POAs, trust existence and authority documents, LLCs. All of the documents that you get in the course of a transaction, you need to really, really take a close look at and even have the title company review them. So that's just a broad overview. We're going to be doing a lot more detailed presentations on this, both in our ConEd 2027 program. And if you haven't seen the Deal Doctor Roadshow this year for 2026, if you're on our fall schedule to do that, please attend, because these are things that are going to be unfolding, and we're going to be digging deeper into this as the months come. Any questions?
In the first sequence or example that you gave, you said that the um, client, they called the lender or somebody, and their phone showed they were talking to the right person when in fact they weren't. Is that correct as to what I understood?
Yes,
Okay, so in that instance, would a FaceTime or an impromptu Zoom or some face-to-face type meeting be a way of circumventing that?
probably. But again, they're getting so good at creating these deep fakes that there's no assurance. What they should have done, which they didn't do, is when they called their lender, they should have done it on the lender's private phone that he gave them at the meeting, their first meeting. Okay? They didn't. They responded to the phone number that was in the email that said it was the lender's phone number. It was
Okay,
only
gotcha.
there was only one digit off. So it looked like Jack the lender and his phone number, but it was one digit off. So they called that number, and immediately when Jack answered, it was his caller ID. It was his phone number in the caller ID because they were able to spoof it, and it was his voice because they had cloned it. So again, if we start out from the very beginning and say, this number for your lender and this number for your real estate agent are the only two numbers that you should ever call. Do not respond to any emails. Call us, have a conversation, get in front of them, do a Zoom call immediately with them where it can't be set up or deep faked. All of those things are precautions that will help identify if there's a scam going on. And
And they should not share those private numbers. They should not ever share it with anyone else.
never share it with anyone else, never put it in a text message, never put it in an email.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. And Lindsay, you're absolutely right. This is exhausting, but it's what we're faced with right now. Any other questions? Luis, I'll let you close it out.
No, then sure thing. So really, again, thank you guys for being on this call, and it tells us that you care for your clients and you want to protect your clients. So kudos to you for being on this call and constantly arming yourself with knowledge and awareness of what to watch out. Is it fair? No, but we just, again, just like Don started the call, anything that's too good to be true, that's the message you want to convey to your clients, just to prepare them. And I don't know if any questions, but if you don't have any questions, this will conclude our call, I think. All right, no, that's it. So thank you all.
And thanks, Jack, for mentioning that. Jack the lender. Appreciate it. All right.
Go and make some money, guys, and make a difference for your community, okay?
Thank you all.
Take care. Bye.